3, 2. Hey everyone, Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. Welcome to Keep Shooting Monday, number 30. Have a number of things we want to talk about today. Going to be a little bit longer show, and I have a really big announcement of something really new that's going to be really free that I'm going to give to everyone. And if you're already on the email newsletter list, you're going to get it a couple of days early. So head over to Cazillo.com. And as you see here in the bottom corner, head over to Cazillo.com and sign up for the email newsletter. You will get the current ebook as well as the new one that I'm coming out with. So another hint, I'll talk about that at the end of the show today. And so, yeah, here we go. So stuff that I wanted to talk about. First thing, make sure you get your toys or hobbies photo assignment picture in. I have not had a lot of submissions. In fact, there's only been one so far. So I'm a little worried about this one. I'm guessing this one's going to go over like a lead balloon. But hopefully we can get it going and people are going to like it and all that good stuff. But I thought this would be an easy one. Just get one of your kids to play with their toys. Get some cool photo. You know, have them run outside in the, it's summertime here in the, in America. So outside playing with the hose or, any kind of a toy or playing, or let's expand it to make it just playing with the kids. Let's make it fun and enjoyable. You have to get the photos in by this Friday, so you still have a few days to get them posted, but let's get them up. And by the way, all the links, all the stuff that I'm talking about today will be up in the description of YouTube when it goes public, as well as on the email, not the email, the post. So you can then click back to those, come back to those later on if you need to. So watch for the tweet or watch for the email that it goes back out. You'll be able to click back over to the stuff that I talked about today. All right, so get your assignment in. Next thing, I am a huge fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk is he started out with this thing called Wine Library TV. He did for a number of years, and then he ended up making a social media company, and his social media and marketing company is really big. I think they're Northern Jersey or New York, and the company is really getting huge. He does some awesome stuff. And he puts out some excellent videos, and he really is one of the guys that's on the forefront of social media, of marketing, and just the stuff that he does is really awesome, and he's poignant. Anyway, I was browsing through some videos, and I needed some inspiration, and this was the inspiration video that I wanted to show today, and so yeah, let's watch it.
Nobody can define who you are, guys. I mean, the game has changed. We talk about all these products. Don't be scared to be multi-dimensional. You're not unfocused. Nobody in this world should define who you are. You can be so many things. I don't want to be just the wine guy. I know a crap load about wine, but I don't want to be just the wine guy. I remember when I did a Joe Torre rant video, how many people left a comment saying, Gary, stick to wine. Why do people always say stick to wine? Stick to what you know, stick to science, stick to cooking. Why do we always want other people to stick to? I don't want to stick to crap. You know what I want to stick to? I want to stick to what makes me happy and what I want to execute again. That's what I want to do. I want to execute against my DNA. I always talk about that. I am not going to allow anybody in this world, not the media, not my friends, not my detractors, nobody define who I am. I'm going to define who I am for myself. And of course,
this is the part that really gets to me, and do what you want to do. Don't let somebody else talk you out of something. If you love it, just do it.
About everybody else. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that, whenever I get zinged, I always email that person. I care about what everybody thinks, but ultimately not as much as I care about executing against my wants and my needs professionally. So, please, if you do anything of the Gary Vaynerchuk videos I've ever put out, never, ever allow somebody to define who you are. Never be half pregnant. Half pregnant is dangerous. Go in all the way. Half pregnant, kind of in, kind of out. Go all the way in everything you want. Don't worry if you're known as the mechanic and you want to listen to opera. Good for you, my man. Good for you. And don't worry if you're, a green kind of chill kid and you've got a little entrepreneurial spirit in it. Go kill it. You don't have to ever again, especially with all the tools that allow us to send our message out there, ever again be pigeonholed. Execute against you.
Please subscribe to Gary Vaynerchuk on YouTube, on Twitter, on everything. Check out his website, GaryVaynerchuk.com. He's got some really awesome stuff. He knows what he's talking about. You can learn a lot from him, just like I have learned a lot from him, gotten a lot of inspiration from him. And he has like 160 some videos and just excellent content. And so follow Gary and take his advice here and just go balls deep all the way, all the time, and just do it and do it well. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You're going to learn a lesson and you're going to get to the right place and you're going to do better the next time, whatever it is. So so that's a little bit of my inspiration for the day. The next one are the photos here from a hotshot firefighter takes to Instagram to document his crew's heroics. Hotshot guys are wildland firefighters, and these guys are really awesome. I'm a volunteer firefighter, but these guys are way far and above. These guys are really men's men. These guys are amazing to do what they do with the work that they have to do, and staring it right in the face without all the gear and the packs and the stuff that we have as interior firefighters. So really amazing. The photos here are really cool. This one is my favorite right here with the little birds. That's the reason that they're doing it. This is why they're out there day in and day out doing what they're doing. And so really, really cool, sleeping in the middle of the woods. So some neat photos there. Thanks for Petapixel for posting that. Next thing I wanted to talk about today is Lightroom does have a couple of bugs. Well, as we know, all software has bugs. And so Lightroom has a few issues that are listed here. They said there's going to be an update coming out this week. So go ahead and check that out. Hopefully they're going to be I'm guessing it's going to be 5.1 coming out this week. So watch Adobe, follow Adobe for that update. I'll also tweet that out when I see that it finally is coming out. Another article from Petapixel this week, and this thing is really, really interesting. And it could very well take iPhone flash photography or any kind of smartphone flash photography really to the next level. It's not being made yet. It's still on Kickstarter. But you can head over and you can get one once it is funded. And I'm thinking about actually doing this and then turn it into an actual bigger photo shoot. And I have some ideas that I want to play with, and the big one that comes to mind that you guys have always heard me talk about, which this one right here is the idea right here: off-camera flash with your iPhone or with your mobile phone, with your smartphone. Take another cable that you get from like Radio Shack, plug it in, and use this iBlazer, dude, and hold it over here with your camera here, click, and you have an off-camera flash. And I really want to try this out, so I'm going to fund this. I'm going to try this out. If you want one of these, it's not that expensive to fund it and get one. And so check it out. You do have to charge it with your laptop. It actually comes with a charging cable and the whole 9 yards, so that's pretty cool. 1,000 powers. 1,000 flashes per charge because they are LEDs, which is pretty neat, and they're very bright. So very, very interesting little guy, and I hope it gets funded. Next toy that came out this week is Google's Chromecast. $35 for this little HDMI dongle that plugs into the back of your television, or even the side of your television, because a lot of televisions have a side HDMI connection instead of just the one in the back. The reason why I'm liking this is for a couple of reasons. Number one, getting our photos off of our tiny little screens or off of our laptop, putting it on the big screen, making it big in front and center for everything that we do. And, showing off our photos or our videos or our content, and besides watching movies and doing all these other things. So I think it'd be really cool to, go to a family event and have this little Chromecast dongle with you, and take your iPad and the dongle, plug it in, be able to show like your Flickr photos there on the screen, or show photos with a client. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of apps that are going to come out for this. This is going to be a really huge hit. They've sold out, I think, already. I have reserved mine already on Amazon, and so I'll put up a link to the Amazon link. You can get it, and so it's really, really cool. Works with the browser, and so here's a little bit about it. You plug it in, and interesting ad. The ideas. Turn that down a little bit. Interesting, very, very interesting to be able to see stuff on that big screen. Why not? Why be limited to your little 13 or 15-inch screen in front of you? Why not show it on that big screen, or a projector? Imagine if you just took a regular projector that you had with an HDMI connection and plug it into that projector. You can have a 150-inch screen out in front of you, and that's even better. Less wires, Wi-Fi. If you're taking it to a client's place, you can set up what's called an ad hoc, ADHOC network, and have it connect directly to your laptop and make it work. That way you probably wouldn't need internet if you were showing photos. You get the right app and get it working. So very interesting. I think it's worth a try, and I'll let you know what my updates are and what I'm thinking for it. So interesting, $35, very inexpensive, and so yeah, pretty cool. Another article here that I found this week: 10 most expensive photographs in the world. Interesting. I wouldn't have expected it to be these 10 images. I like this one of Los Angeles. I'm not sure about the rest of these, though. So, yeah. Found that over on, I don't even know the name of this website, Free York. Not sure what that is. I've never been on the site before. But I'll put up a link to it. So, some interesting 10 most expensive photos. I'm guessing they've sold at auction, something like that. Anyway, next thing, the sharpest lens in the world, sharpest lens ever tested, I should say, by DxOMark, is the Nikon 200 f2. Interesting. I knew the 200 f2, at least the new one anyway. I knew the 200 f2 was sharp because I've used it once before, but I didn't realize how sharp it was. It is sharper than like the 85 1.4s, sharper than your 50s. A 200 millimeter f2 lens is sharper than a shorter, say 85 or something like that. I always thought the 85 would be the best. I never really looked into it, but hey, the more they can push it, the better. And so that's interesting. If you want to head over and take a look at that article over on Nikon Rumors, you can. Once again, I'll put up the link, and all those links will be in the article, as well as the description on YouTube when this finally does go public. And of course, I'll tweet out the link and email out the link, all that good stuff. So let's see. We have a couple of questions today. Thought I'd get into those. And again, if you do have any photography questions, please go ahead and post them up on YouTube and or tweet them, and I'll do my best to answer them at the end of the show if I have something that pops in my head for that one. So anyway, the first two were posted over on comments on a couple of older articles, which is cool. First one from Todd. I have a high school football team picture coming up with 2 strobes and Kubota's diffuser. Would my shadowed faces be limited? Certainly one speed light won't work as an 8:30 a.m. shoot with sun at backs, trying to put some light on the faces, especially the darker skinned players. So, my first question is, why don't you think that one strobe is going to be enough? With the right settings, you can definitely make it enough. And so I would do yourself a favor, do some tests, and go out and shoot at first. Start with just that one strobe, if a diffuser, if you really needed it, and try it out. You might find that you're going to be doing better than what you think. If you really needed two strobes, maybe try putting both of those strobes inside of a single housing or a single umbrella. I actually made one of those things, and if I can find it, I'm not sure if it's here today at the studio. I think it's actually at home, and so I don't think I have it with me. But anyway, it's just a bar with two mounts with two of these, which is just, if you look at that, just a little quarter 20 mount thing. That's really all it is, and so it's really nothing special. I made one. You can buy them online. Two strobes inside of a single umbrella or inside of a single softbox. It'll give you a lot of light, and it won't double your amount of light. I think you'll get like one stop more of light, I think is how it works. Well, that is doubling. Yeah, you'll get, instead of, it won't be like 5 more stops, it'll be like 1 more stop of light. So you'll get, instead of having like 4 stops of light, you'll end up with 5, and so you'll be able to say bring your aperture up a little bit or your shutter speed down a little bit. You'll be able to make those adjustments, maybe keep your ISO a little bit lower, whatever it is for your settings. But anyway, consider putting the two of them together if you really needed to overpower the sun. That might work out with a high-speed sync. And so, but I really do think you just need to test it out, try it out, because I'm pretty sure you're going to find you really only need one. Unless you're talking about real low-end strobes that might not be as powerful. If you're running a 910 or a 900, or the higher-end Canon flashes, you should have enough power, you won't have any problems. Next question at the bottom here. Alright, man, how hard it is to find the right information. Everyone talks about DR, dynamic range, but believe me, when it comes to explaining the thing, black, whatever that means. So I have a 5D Mark II, and they say dynamic range is 11.9. So if we make it 11, then we have the following: total black, 1, 2, with the extra stops, how much do I under and overexpose to get the right colors? Don't worry about this little things like this. These little technical specs, 11.9 dynamic range, okay, great. If the scene has it, your camera's going to capture it. If the scene doesn't have it, then your camera isn't going to capture it. So for me, the way I shoot, what I'll do is just go by my histogram. I push my data over to the right side of the histogram whenever possible and keep that information over there. Unless I'm shooting a sunset or something like that, then I'll usually underexpose in order to saturate the colors in that sunset and not blow out the sun. So I really don't worry about this stuff. I'm not a big, I worry about all these tech specs and all this stuff. Yeah, it's great to say that, the D3X has, 13.5 stops of dynamic range, and you have all this color and this and that and the other thing. But you still have to know how to get a good exposure, and you have to have the right lens and the right location and the right time and the right light and all this other things. So just get the proper exposure in that scene. Don't worry about your your zone system. I'm just not a big fan of it. Pay attention to your histogram, push the data over to the right when you need to, and you're going to get as good a photo as possible. A little adjustment in Lightroom, maybe a little saturation, a little bit of extra color, check your shadows, that kind of thing, and you're done. All right. Next question. When shooting outdoors, which way do you advise to point my speed light on the camera? Direct or 45 degrees? Well, 45 degrees is going to be used for bouncing. And when you're outside, you don't have anything above you for it to bounce off of. There's no ceiling, there's no nothing for it to bounce off of. So you need it direct. Next question. There's so many opinions from expert photographers like yourself about using all manual mode versus shutter priority or aperture priority that a real newbie like me has no idea what is best. Guess is just about what to do. Okay. So, you see I already put my answer in here, which is cool. But just like I said, I put here, 90% of the time, most of the time, you want to be in manual mode. Manual mode is where it's at. You have the most control. You know what your shutter speed is, your aperture is, and your ISO is. By the way, as I always say, stay away from auto ISO. Turn it off. Never touch it again. Leave it off and leave it that way. So manual mode with your exposure settings always. In those times when your lighting's changing real fast, or you have a little bit of, you need some more, a little bit faster response. Say you're shooting sports or you're shooting kids, and the kids are in and out of sun and clouds or shade or whatever. Basically, if you can't keep up with either the changing light conditions or the subject is moving in and out of different lighting conditions quickly, and you need to keep shooting, then you need to be on, say, an aperture priority mode in order to make it work. I never use shutter priority, so I would say stick with aperture priority, but that's my preference. So that's your time. That's the way you should do it. Learn your exposures. Learn how it works, your aperture, your shutter, your ISO. Know how they work, apply it, then learn your histogram, apply the histogram to your images, and you'll do well. Alright, next question. Hi, Greg. I'm looking for flash gear. I'm planning on buying a pair of 910s, light stands, light modifiers. Not sure which radio trigger to buy. Using a D3S, so I can't trigger via Nikon CLS unless I buy one extra flash. He's looking at buying either the Plus 3 or the Mini TT1, and he's not sure which one he would buy. My suggestion is to buy the Mini TT1. The reason being is that you have the TTL function, alright, which is going to be very handy. If you don't have the TTL function, that means you're going to need to have to walk all the way over there where your flash is and then all the way back, and that's not what the CLS system is for. However, this thing's $200. Personally, I would rather see you put your money into another flash. I have triggered my CLS flash from probably about 100 feet away outdoors. And what I actually did is I zoomed the head all the way down to like 180 or 150, whatever it is, max on a 600. Zoom it all the way down, send it in, or set it on the highest power, and it actually did trigger, and it didn't have any problems. So I think that's going to be the better way to go, is to buy that third strobe. If you can't do it right away, just use the one on camera and the other one off, and then you'll have a fill light and a main light, which is a good way to go. Your fill light always comes from the camera angle, or normally comes from the camera angle, and then your main light is coming in from the side, or maybe it's this way, maybe it's this side. You're going to find that, and this happens a lot to me when I'm shooting, say, interiors. I might have 2 or 3 strobes set up, and I end up using that one on the camera a lot to do a light general fill, and then I use the other 1 or 2 to fill in different areas when I'm outside, or even with a portrait, I'll do the same thing. So I'd strongly suggest taking another look at that, and maybe, even if it's a 700, buy another one of the strobes, and then invest in the Pocket Wizards if you really need it down the road. Alright, so I think it'll be the way to go. Alright, so here comes the really big announcement time. By the way, if you do have some questions, I'll try to get some more live questions here in just a minute, but it's time for an announcement, so let's do this. Hi Greg, just starting out, and I was wondering, what's the best way to get started at making money and getting clients? Little teaser here. This is a new ebook that's coming out. I'm going to release it in the next week or so. It's like 90% done. Top 10 tips for growing your photography business. And I'm going to back to that screen. So I've really put a lot of thought into this book, and I'm finally ready to release it. And I just have a couple little tiny tweaks. This is what a lot of the steps that I have done, a lot of experiences going into this book. I think it's like 15 or 20 pages. Download it, check it out, let me know what you think of it. I'm also working on another contest that comes with it. So the only way to get into it, the only way to get this ebook, is to sign up for the email newsletter. go to Cazillo.com, sign up for the email newsletter. As soon as it comes out, you will get a copy of it. You'll be the first people to have it. Then once it's out, for if you're watching this in, say, a year or something, you can still get a copy of this. It'll always be free, but you just have to sign up for it on the website, Cazillo.com. Sign up for it, get it, and free stuff is always good. And so that'll be my second ebook. I have a third and a fourth one in mind. They're coming, but this one is the one that I've been concentrating on, and I want to get it out, and it's going to happen very, very soon. In the next week or so, I'm going to have it ready, and I'm going to put it out. So sign up for the email newsletter. You'll get it. You'll be the first ones to have it. Take a look through it. Let me know what you think. And so back to answer this question. Just starting out, and I was wondering what's the best way to get started making money and getting clients. Well, read the ebook that's coming out soon. But to be honest, you need to develop your style. All right, you got to have a good style. You got to have a strong style and a strong know-how. If you're first starting out and you're really in that transition time, you need to start by learning from someone. Either you're working for them directly or indirectly, doesn't matter. You know, maybe you're directly assisting for them a lot, and that's great. But you got to learn from someone, develop your style, whether it's myself or other photographers out there. But it's better if you're learning from someone face-to-face, directly getting some coaching from them, some information from them. I had someone contact me today for some coaching on their photography. Their photos are out of focus, and they can't seem to figure out why. And so you need to have that feedback and see the portfolio, make that step forward, get the really good images, and I'll have that book out and the rest of that information out very, very soon. Probably before next week I'll have it, and then there's going to be a contest come along with it too. So let's get into some questions that are up here. Let's see. I have you know what? Let's start at the bottom. Do you recommend getting better lenses or better camera bodies? Typically better lenses is the better way to go, or the newer way to go. So let's go back to this camera. Okay. So do you recommend getting better lenses or better cameras? Typically, you want your camera to stick around for, say, 4 years, maybe 5 years. Lenses, you should be able to get 8 or 10 years out of them, maybe even a little longer. So, especially if they're good lenses anyway. And so, yeah, stick with the better lenses most of the time, unless there's a feature you really, really need, or say your camera's like 2 or 3 generations old and it doesn't have a real good high ISO, then you want to upgrade your body. But most of the time, it's a lenses come first. All right. One photographer mentioned intentionally overexposing an image by up to 1 stop. Is this for post processing, and what is the effect? Unless it's a stylistic thing, I would not suggest doing that. No, I would not suggest doing that unless it's for an intentional thing that you want to do to make it to style an image in a certain way. You don't want to be overexposing your images. You're going to be the camera is set for a reason and does certain things. The camera manufacturers know what they're doing as far as their dynamic range and the color and all that stuff, and that's why they put the histogram on there. So follow the histogram, don't overexpose, watch it. Check out my histogram video if you're not sure how to use it, and you'll be in better shape. All right. 1/3 composition rule. I actually have a video on that. Rule of thirds is actually, if you just do a search for Cazillo rule of thirds, you'll come up with that video. And let's see. I have a question. Last week you mentioned the pricing on the D600 was excellent. What's your take on the camera itself? I'm interested in upgrading the full frame, and the price is right. Well, the first thing you need to worry about is, do you have the lenses to support it? Just like we said, hey, back here, should we get a better lens or a better body? Well, what lenses do you already have? If you have lenses that are subpar and they're mostly variable aperture lenses or they're DX lenses, then you're not ready to upgrade. If you have a 24 to excuse me. If you have, say, a 24 to 70, something like that, then yeah, maybe it's a, maybe a 70 to 200. Then yeah, maybe it's ready to upgrade. Time to upgrade, and be a good step in the right direction. But be careful. Lenses need to come first, and then upgrade. But overall, D600, it looks like a really good camera. I've recommended it for a couple of people, a couple pros. One of them was thinking about switching to Nikon, and so I think it's going to be a good way to go for a lot of people. The video stuff is interesting on it. I may end up using it for a video camera in the future. You never know. So interesting, very interesting. Let's see. I have a D5000 with a Sigma 17 to 50 upgrading to a D600. Any recommendation on a similar lens with macro? I can't think of any. To be totally honest, I can't think of any lenses right off the top of my head that is a 17 to 50 with macro. I personally would stick with the 17 to 55 Nikkor lens. Sorry. You're going to DX. You're upgrading to full frame, so you would want to go with the 24 to 70. The 24 to 70 has a pretty good close focus, but it's not macro. What I would probably do is sell that Sigma and buy like a 105 millimeter Nikkor lens or a 60 millimeter Nikkor lens, and those are going to be micros, and you'll be able to zoom, get that one down to 1:1, and you're probably going to be better off. You're going to be happier with that. All right. Went to the movies this weekend and noticed a lot of scenes were shot with the subject in center frame. I'm thinking a good KSM idea. Give me a little more detail there. I'm not sure quite what you're speaking of. So Moreno 1024. Let me know what that is, and I'll tweet me or something, post it to the forum, whatever it is. Let me know what that is. We talked about that. I think that is about it. I'm not seeing any additional comments or questions here today. Let me check Twitter, see if there was any additional ones here. There is a couple. Somebody's thanking me for the wedding photo list, so you're very welcome. How does an adjustable neutral density filter work? I need to shoot out on the sunny day. Best one to buy. That's a good question. I've never personally seen an adjustable neutral density filter. Typically, you're going to have, say, one filter that's a third of a stop or a half stop, and then another one that's one stop, and then another one that's two stops, and then you can stack them to get like a stop and a half. So the half plus one is 1.5. I don't know how an adjustable one is going to work. I think they have them in video cameras, but I've never seen them for photo. I've always been a fan of B&W filters. And somewhere I still have a big set of, say, Koken filters. I think I still have some of those. I'm going to play with those. I was going to pull them out. It's been a while since I've done anything with filters. But, yeah, it's probably a good way to go. Check out the reviews. Don't go with the cheapest set. That's probably the biggest mistake people make, is they'll cheap out on this. Don't go with the cheap ones. Buy the expensive ones. If you want good quality, you got to pay for it. So look for good ones, and you're going to be better off. I'll do a little bit more research on this. I'll post a link into the video on the website, and then of course in the YouTube description, and I'll put a recommendation there. And so I think that's it. How long have we been talking today? About 30 minutes, 35 minutes. One other remark here before we end the show. This was interesting. I follow Indie Mogul. I don't know if I talked about this last week or not. I follow Indie Mogul, which is a YouTube channel, and they have I think it's Wednesday or Thursday, put up a video where there's a couple guys that are just kind of bantering and talking. I had a long trip, and I was listening to it. I think I might have talked about this already, but it doesn't matter. They took this trip, and I actually mounted my phone, and I was listening to it. So that was interesting, because I kind of do the same thing. I kind of rant and talk and stuff. But it probably isn't a good idea, because a lot of the stuff we do is kind of visual, so maybe it's not a good idea to be doing that while you're driving. But at least just play this and click over when you're watching. A lot of times I'll watch YouTube videos and I'll have it on my iPad or something. You know, I'm sitting there working and let it play and watch it. So, interesting stuff. I think that's everything for today. I don't see any more questions. Can I use a 51.8 as a macro lens? I don't know. I've never used a 51.8. Is a 51.8 macro lens? I don't think it is. I don't think it's will give you a macro lens, quote unquote. Allows you to go down to 1:1. And I don't think that lens does. So you have to check the specs to see if it's considered to be a macro. If it's not a macro, then you just need to buy another macro lens that allows you to get closer. I think that's everything for today. So one more quick check over here in comments. Last one. Nope. I think that's it. Okay. Cool. Thanks, guys. Ebook coming up next week. New one. And what I'll show you once more. I'll tease you once more. Hold on. One more teaser. Top 10 tips for growing your photography business. Sorry, my picture thing is in the way there. But that's okay. That's enough of the teaser. That's enough. Greg Cazillo, Cazillo.com. Thanks, guys. Keep shooting. See ya.